Welcome back to Born Offside for the third time in a week. We are back. I don't know if you're watching this, but we're rocking our Aussie kits, except for Kat.
No.
Yeah, what is that?
Fake fan.
Fake fan. It's a Venezia, but you know, it's got a bit of green and gold. I'm not a fake fan.
You can't be a fake fan when you were in the actual marketing campaign of the Australian kits.
Correct.
That's a flex.
That's so true.
I actually...
That's a flex.
You are actually wow, Kat.
Yeah, I just, I forgot my Australia jersey, unfortunately, which is customized with Cat on the back.
Yeah, and it was sent to her as well. You know, normal people go and buy kits. Kat just gets them customized and sent to her, you know.
I got a
And
big
then-
Virgin Australian one though, so
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
flex on that one.
I did get a Claudes one as well. But it doesn't matter. It's besides the fact. Look, we're going to talk about Australian football, not just the national teams, but everything. Because, again, we haven't seen you guys since before the World Cup. We were here on Tuesday, chatting all things football. We're here on Wednesday, talking World Cup. Now it's
I
time
liked
to
that
talk.
chat, the World Cup chat.
You like the World Cup? It was good. It was a good chat.
It was a
It was good. It was
good
nice to
ep-
reminisce.
good ep.
It was a good ep.
Yeah.
Now we're going to talk Aussie football. So we may as well start with the World Cup
Yes.
because it was huge. And we were all dreaming.
Massive.
Kat, you were obviously working on it. I was working on it. Olan, you were down at the live sites working on it as well. So you got to see that buzz, which was, for me, that was the favourite. That was the best part.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
The fans.
I had the best job.
Yeah, exactly right.
It was good.
The fans were finally convinced, and we saw the scenes that you usually see in Europe and South America, flares, people just partying in any hour of the night.
It's amazing.
What did this run for the Socceroos do for Australian football, Kat? Did it reignite something that wasn't there 6 months ago?
I genuinely think it has.
Right.
I think it brought a momentum to the game that I think we were lacking in before. And we work in football, and I think even I went into that World Cup not with the highest expectations for that team. On paper, they should not have done as well as they did. But the fact that they exceeded our expectations makes it even more special.
Right.
But I think, Olan, you said you had the best job. Like, you got to go out and see how football can do that. It can bring people together. It can get them excited. And they're not necessarily people that tune in, week out, watching another team. They're just there because they're like, Australia's doing all right. I'm going to go watch. I'm going to get involved. And I said this on an earlier episode too. I had friends who don't really care about football, like talking about it. And I love that. I think that's what makes it special. And I really felt that magic again in this World Cup that I feel like we didn't really have in the last one. And I just think being on Dubzone, the Liberty A-Leagues show for the women, we talked a lot about the Socceroos and the momentum and the way that was trickling into the female game as well. So I think it'll do a lot for the sport, especially because we've got a Women's World Cup right around the corner. So I think Australians are going to take the game more seriously now.
And we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the episode because it's massive. It's a home World Cup. But all I want to talk to you. It was a World Cup of many firsts, right? First time we win 2 games in a row, keep 2 clean sheets in a row, score a goal in the knockout stages.
I was spoiled.
Do you feel properly Australian now? You've been here a while after that experience?
I feel like I'm spoiled. It was almost like, obviously, like it's like Para reaching the grand finals. Like I'm spoiled. My first year supporting them. Like first year supporting Australia officially.
Because when did you get here?
I got here a month before COVID hit.
Okay, so well after the 18 World Cup.
So for me, this is my first ever experience supporting Australia. Obviously, I'm working there, but I'm also a fan. So it was like, for me, I was like, bro, I realized how crazy Australians are. I was like, bro, it's 4 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm at the casino, and everyone's just going crazy. I'm like,
it's packed.
4 a.m.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then even the Argentina game, I think I got there maybe 5 a.m., maybe 4:30. I'm like, 5:30, this place is rammed.
Yeah.
Thousands. I'm like, this is like I couldn't fathom the scenes how it would be in England because I'm like. In England, we just got it so easy. We wake up, whatever, 3 p.m., we'll go roll up, we'll watch the game. You know what I mean? Whereas these guys, it's got to be a commitment.
It's a real commitment.
You've got to be like, you know what? Win or lose, I'm going to support the boys.
Does that give you hope?
Yeah,
That
definitely.
if you can translate that, if you can convince these people to support the local game week in, week out, it's there.
Well, A-League
Job's
fucked that
half
up, but
yeah. Well, we're gonna talk
That's
A-League.
a whole other thing, right?
We are gonna
But
talk A-League.
in
I
the-
wanted to start with a positive.
Yeah.
I was
And
going
the
positive.
positive
A-League
is
fucked
that
that all up.
we saw the goal scorers for this World Cup, for the
Yeah.
Socceroos, were A-League players or former A-League players.
right.
And that was a huge talking point. The show that I had with Nick Staff, we talked about that a lot.
Yeah.
He went out to one of the fan sites at 4 for the 2 a.m. game. And then came and we did our show at 6 a.m., 6:30 in the morning. And he was on such a high.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, Nick Staff's 20 years old.
Yeah.
He
doesn't remember the 06 one.
No.
Yeah.
He didn't have those moments, and he sat there and he was genuinely emotional about the
What it
experience of
done.
that World Cup, and it made it more special for me because you can somewhat take for granted that experience because most of us have very similar football experiences, but for someone like Nick Stav, that moment for him was so special, and he's
would've
never
been
going to
like
forget it. And
so many
he
other
talks
fans
about
as
Mitch
well.
Duke's goal, and he talks about Harry Suter, like
chewing his ear off
he's
yesterday, but yeah.
he's his favorite person in the world, and he's like, my grandkids will know about this World Cup.
Yeah, Harry Suter's a beast. Mitch Duke, you mentioned him. We said it here on we did an Aussie special when we beat Peru. You and I came in, and we spoke about how important Mitch Duke was in that game because he runs his head off. We know he's maybe not the most technical footballer. He's not the most this. He knows his job. He does it so well. And then he popped up for that great goal. You were hanging out with him. Was it the other night?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'll try and keep this story as short as possible.
Because I heard he's good value on a night out.
He is. I won't mention any of the activities that were going on, but I was trying to get in the Coogee Pav. This is a funny story. I was trying to get in the Coogee Pav. You know the whole story. Coogee Pav didn't let me in before, but they've been letting me in.
Okay.
So I'd been getting in, but
because you ended up on some news site the
they
first
know who
time.
you are.
Yeah, they know who I am. So I had on a NBA jersey, right? And I was with my best mate Jamba. We were sitting downstairs. We're trying to get the queue was all the way. Like,
it's ridiculous.
Ridiculous. I was in probably 45-minute wait, right? I'm with him, and we're like, you know what? Can we get in? We're like, nah, we'll just go downstairs, right? So we go downstairs. As we're sitting downstairs, he goes, Olan, because there's a reverse place. He's like, Olan, why don't you try, do your little? And I'm like, nah, I'm not like that. He's like, nah, let's try it. All right, go up to the guy. I'm like, yo, is there
I don't know if you know who I am.
No, I didn't even. I was like, is there a possibility? And he's like, I know you are. I said, you do? He's like, well, I'm just with my mates, 2 mates. Can we go up? He was like, all right, you can go up.
Oh, you
didn't even have.
But I didn't. But he knew. But no. But
you said a lot without saying a lot.
But that's not even the killer. So we go upstairs. I shit you not. I'm like, the door's there. I'm about to go inside. One guy stops me and goes, no, can't come in with that top on.
Oh.
I'm like, fuck's
basketball
sake.
jersey.
You make things so much harder for yourself.
So I'm like, Jamba, you know what? That's it. Call it a day. Let's just go home. He's like, no. We go next door. We buy a random shirt.
Oh.
I chuck it on.
No,
Did you see it? I got a random Sydney top on. The shirt I took
from the
was
souvenir store.
Yeah, souvenir next door.
God.
So
they won't let you in with an NBA jersey, but you can be a
yeah.
Sydney.
So I go and put that on over the top, right? Try and go back upstairs through the guy. He goes, no. They're saying you can't come in this way now. So I got to go back in the queue.
Right.
So the queue's long.
By this time, I would have been at home.
By this time, I'm like, Jams, is it time to quit? He's like, no, just give it one more go.
Okay.
We go line up. The bouncer recognizes me and he goes, you.
Skip the line.
Come with me.
Like, what are you doing at the back of the line again?
So second time, me and Jams, bang, we get up. We get in there, we're rolling. It's all party times. And I'm like, see Juki, roll up. I'm like, no. Just run straight up to him. I'm like, mate, I'm chewing his ear off for a good 20, 30 minutes. I'm like, you need to come back to the Wanderers. You don't understand what your goal did for in the World Cup. He's like, listen, man, I would love to play in Australia,
The
but
cash is too good.
the cash isn't wet. I'm like, you know, he goes, you know what he goes to? He goes, I'm near the tail end of my career. I've got to take care of myself.
Yeah,
I'm like,
fair
you know
enough,
what?
bro. That's fair enough.
Fucking, I get it, right? And then, you know who's with him? Tony Basher.
Oh, he's everywhere.
I don't know if anyone knows who Tony Basher is, but he's a legend. Right. So I'm chatting to Tony Basher and I'm like, what's going on with Bottle Party, man? Why don't you just take that? And he's like, you know what? Basher goes, you know what? I asked him, he called me up. He was crying. Bottle Party was crying, saying, I wanna go play for Australia. I want to go play for Australia.
No way.
Right.
Yeah, crying in tears. And Basher and his mum go to him, you're not ready at the moment. So don't go now. Because he thought if he got on that stage and he wasn't ready, then the people could go, Valpatta's not this, Valpatta's not that. He goes, wait more. You're young. You got 3-4 more World Cups in you. Wait a little bit, and then go play for him.
Wow.
There you go.
There you go.
So you go to Coogee Pav to have a boogie, you end up with all this information.
The amount of people that I meet, like when I'm on a night out, it's like.
So is Juki's recently single? Is he? I don't know if that's.
I know he's got kids.
I think he's recently.
He might be recently. Single,
I think he's back out on the market. You know, if
I'm not gonna say anything. But
yeah, if people's DMs or anything to go by. But carrying on, Juki's a legend. He's a legend leading the line for Australia.
Super good guy.
And he was great there at the World Cup. It was great. We sidetracked there with a bit of a Coogee Pav story, but I love that because we like seeing them they're just normal people.
Yeah.
They've just been at the World Cup. They come back.
You meet interesting people like Coogee Pav.
Yeah, you do. We're not. By the way, we're not sponsored by Merivale at all, so we're not trying to give them.
But if they wanted us to do a episode out of Coogee Pav or something, we'd do it.
That'd be
live potty at Coogee Pav.
Live potty at Coogee Pav.
If we get Juki on, I'll take it. But it was an amazing run. We went all the way to that round of 16 against Argentina. We lost, of course. Argentina went on to win it. Same way in 2006 we lost to Italy. They went on to win it.
So Australia is winning to Australia.
We're like good luck Chuck, but football. version. For anyone that's watched
so
that
whichever
movie.
team we lose to goes on to...
If you bang us, you get married. Have you ever watched Good Luck Chuck?
Yeah. Makes sense.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
But it was a great campaign nonetheless, and Garen Qual, if he puts that in, how important was that Emi Martinez save?
I remember watching that, and I'm going, you become a hero at that point.
Yeah.
But it was like, even looking back on it, there was nothing else he could have done.
He did
better.
it very. It turned the touch, the turn.
The turn, the strike. There's nothing else.
Yeah, he did everything
Incredible
right.
though.
He did everything right. But look, it was an amazing moment for Australian football. It felt like everything was on a high. All the chat about Graham Arnold not being the man for the job seemed to kind of nullify and disappear.
No one's got any second.
No one's saying any of that, right? So it'll be interesting to see what he does. When I interviewed him, he was saying how like it was such an honor for him, but it was such a hard job, and like international, especially during COVID,
It'd be so hard.
just took its toll on him, right? And so he went through a lot. So I question whether he's going to do it again. But let's see what happens next. We have an Asian Cup around the corner. We thought, this is it, man. We saw thousands of people at the live sites. This is going to kick back on into the A-League. We're going to go back. The A-League's going to come back. The women's football's already on now. This is going to pump. A couple weeks later, actually right after, during the World Cup.
A week later or something.
Right
ridiculous.
after, the APL announced the agreement with the
Destination New South Wales.
Destination New South Wales,
Yeah.
to have the final in Sydney for the next 3 years. On paper, I'm not saying anything. I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
On paper, to someone who doesn't know too much about the Australian football sphere, doesn't seem like that big of a deal.
Doesn't seem like that big of a deal.
Why is it that big of a deal?
I struggle a little bit with this because like I play devil's advocate a little bit
Okay,
too.
like
But it's a big deal in the sense that I actually don't think the game is at the level now where we can choose where we host a final.
Because
I think
the
it should
NRL
be
and the
dependent
AFL do
on.
that.
Yeah, but they're so much more established.
Right. Is that the nice thing about...
Yeah, because you guys know a bit more about history in terms of the AP. Because I saw it and I thought, that's a bit stupid. But I didn't know the level.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I've not been here that long.
Yeah.
The issue is that if it's two Melbourne teams that are in the final,
And they have to go to
they're
Sydney.
traveling to Sydney for a
Yeah.
final.
Well, it's funny because this is the one, this decision was made in the same year that the top 3 teams last season were all Melbourne teams.
Yeah.
And the final was an all Melbourne final.
So it would have been played.
There would have been 3 people there in Sydney. You know what I mean? But
Right.
like the lowest attendance, I believe.
For a grand final?
Actually, one of the because they didn't fill the stadium for Central Coast Newcastle in 2008 or 9 when they had it in Sydney. But the argument is, look, we had to secure the bag. This is money for football. It was apparently just over $10 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's not terrible.
That's pretty big for...
But that's also not a whole lot, is
I mean,
it?
it's not huge when you think of the
In
grand
football,
scheme
that's
of
not a
things.
lot of money.
That's
though.
about what, 3-4 million a year.
It's.
That's not that much.
I've spoken to
But
people at
we don't know
APL, and not even everyone who works at the APL agrees with the decision. The reality is the decision was made a long time ago.
It was made a
They
long time ago.
knew that they
yes.
were going to have to announce it at some
Yes.
point, and I
Yes.
actually think,
Yeah.
in playing devil's advocate, they just went about it the wrong way.
That's it.
This is all marketing.
Yeah.
This is all how you communicate to fans. This is how you tell them.
Yeah, I
agree.
And instead of even hyping up Sydney football and building like a bit of a marketing campaign around Destination New South Wales, why not make...
chucking Craig Goodwin in there when he had no idea that he was even going to be how it was
Well,
marketed?
yeah, exactly right. Then you've got it was the same for like Remy Seamson. She was one of the female footballers on the
They had no
campaign.
idea.
They
Like
didn't know.
they actually just didn't know what they were signing up for, and it's not to say it's the worst decision in the world. I just don't think that they went about it the best way. There was probably better ways to communicate it to fans.
If it was $100 or $200 million deal, would that make it okay? Is
because
it the money?
the sport needs the money.
So is it the money? Because I agree with you. It's a marketing problem. If you said to me, right, if the APL came out and said, hey, next 3 seasons, 3, not 30, not 300,
Yeah.
the next 3 seasons,
Yeah.
the final's going to be in Sydney.
Yeah.
What we did is we sold this deal. It's a lot of money. With that money, it's going to help us something. It's going to help us bring more marquees. It's going to help us launch the national second division. It's going to help us do... And you like marketed it like that. I think people would have been a little bit more like, okay, we're in a bit of a shitty situation.
What it felt like from someone that's not watched it, not been in and around the A-League hugely. Like I said, I'm still a newcomer, but it felt like they didn't give a fuck about the fans.
That's what it felt like.
It felt like it was irrelevant
I
to
don't think
any.
that's the case,
like
but that's
even
what
when
it
there was an
felt
uproar and people were saying, "I'm not going to the games," and
Yeah.
all the core fan groups were joining forces saying, "No, we're not going. We're walking out in the 20th minute." Nothing.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like anyone cared about what the fans had to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think to Claude's point, that's not the case. It's
Yeah.
not about them not caring
Well, it's
about
hard.
the...
It's hard. Yeah.
and we spoke about this. Danny Townsend genuinely loves the game.
Yeah.
Like he's
He used to be a footballer,
he's a
didn't he?
good
Yeah.
dude.
He
Like
used to be a footballer, he played in
he's
Singapore,
not out to do anything other than grow the game.
Yeah.
And these things can be lost in translation when they're not done the right way.
Well, we had a lot of comments, mainly comments. People, a lot of comments I can't read out from people writing it into the pod about the APL. I had one here from the Common Football Fan, says Danny Townsend onside or offside. Again,
We want to get him on the pod, so I'm saying onside.
I'd like to get him on the pod. I would like Danny Townsend to come on the pod and have a chat with us because
Yeah.
I've met him a couple of times. Every time I met him, seems like a very lovely, switched-on fella. Someone who's got, as you said, has the best intentions for the game. I can't speak too much about it. I don't know him. We don't hang out for beers every week, so I don't know. But I would like to get him on the pod to ask him some of these questions. It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I'll definitely reach out and try.
I think it'd be good. Like he's done. I think he's done a few interviews. He's done one or two. But it'd be good for the fans to actually
hear from him.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
So
think
we
that-
need more
I don't-
transparency.
I don't think
You know what
there's
I mean?
enough
If they came out,
transparency.
listen. We took this investment. We know that there was a big investment that came into the A League, and there's Silver Lake investments, and there's this and there's that, and then there's the Paramount deal, right? We know that money came in. We know that there's a lot of hands in the newly formed Australian professional leagues.
Yeah.
How do we not know that part of that investment was you need to make this money? We're giving you this money now, but money needs to be made back. So when something like this gets offered to you, how do we not know that there's not pressure from these investors going, you fucking
So
take
you
that deal?
gotta take
That's
that.
$10 million we didn't have yesterday. You shut up and take that deal.
Yeah.
How do we know that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, these are all
exactly.
things that happen in the business world,
That's
right?
why that transparency is so important.
So we need to be more transparent.
'Cause
We need to hear from
fans-
these people.
It's like the average fan isn't hating on the game for it. They're
No.
confused.
They're confused,
They just
exactly.
don't know.
Yeah.
They want to know why.
And I completely understand it.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of finals. I'm not. I think it's first past the post wins. That's how it should be.
Yeah,
But whatever.
It is a bit, but I hear,
Yeah.
but I understand why they do it.
Exactly.
I do
Yeah.
understand.
We have finals, and the beauty of the final is the home ground advantage. One of the best finals in recent memory was Adelaide at home to Western Sydney at Adelaide Oval. 50,000 people in Adelaide turned out to see it. It was a big event. If you ask Adelaide United what the best day for them was, it probably was that day. So that's why we do it. It's that home
Yeah.
ground advantage. Perth had a home final. It was
Yeah.
great. This is the reason we do it. Brisbane Raw in the Raw Salona days, home final. Scenes.
Those
This is
were absolute
Berisha diving in the
scenes,
box.
yeah,
this is what it's all
scenes.
about, right?
Yeah.
And it wouldn't
And
have been the
that
same.
doesn't happen if it's in
Yeah,
Sydney.
exactly. And that's what makes it, that's the whole point. Like, you even diminish even more what it means to become minor premier. Before it was like, at least, if you finish first,
You can
we're going to have a
host it.
home final.
Yeah,
No
so
one
it's
else is
almost
higher
taken
than
away
us.
a little bit from
Now it's like, what's the point of coming first? You can come sixth, same shit. If you're a Sydney team, come sixth, we can still be champions. And at
Yeah.
home as well. So I get it.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating. I'm just as frustrated as everyone. But what I'm saying is there's probably many more
Yeah,
reasons.
let's
for this
find out
decision.
the bottom.
Yeah.
And like Danny understands football. Like everything
Yeah.
you've just said, he would know. So it'd be interesting to hear from.
Let's get him on the pod.
Yeah, let's get him on the.
You know
pod.
what? Stop tweeting hate to Danny Townsend and just tweet to him, say, get on Born Offside.
Get on
We
Born
just want to
Offside.
hear.
Speak.
We want to
We
hear.
just want
from
to chat.
you.
That's all we want to do. Just want to take
all
some
it
pictures. Right? Just wanna chat.
Just want to take some pictures, Danny.
Um,
Take some pictures.
But look, what happened after you mentioned that the people walking out in the 20th minute?
Yeah.
What you shouldn't do is throw a bucket at a goalkeeper. Let's talk about that incident. Victory fans. 17 now have been banned. Some of them 10 years, some of them 20 years, some of them been banned for life.
Wow. I mean, they deserve it.
They deserve it.
They deserve it.
It's fair enough.
Yeah.
I guess everyone would have seen that incident by now. Invade the pitch,
Yeah.
Flair gets thrown back. They run on. Someone throws some sort of bucket at Tom Glover. That was crazy. That was scenes. You never want to see that in anywhere in the world.
No
you
way.
don't expect to see it here.
And it was a crazy event. I remember just tweet. I don't even remember. Like I remember other people messaging me like, "Olan, have you seen this?" And I'm like, "What the hell's going on?" And
Yeah.
I've just seen this incident that
That was disgusting. It was disgusting.
it was disgusting. And I messaged both. I messaged Skipper and Tommy. Just see how they were, and it was just like, Tommy was fine, but it was just like, bro, the game was just insane.
Bad.
Obviously,
Yeah.
had to be called off and stuff, but it was just sad to see.
Yeah.
It was sad to see. We know that's offside. I don't even have to ask onside or offside. We know that was all offside. But, this is Born Offside. We've got to speak about all angles. So I want to ask you a few other things. Onside or offside, Tommy Glover throwing the flare back in.
But what,
I'm not blaming it.
did he throw it back in? I watched it, Kat. Did he throw it back in, or did he? He
You
was
think
kind of like a
he's trying
toss to the
getting
side.
it off the pitch, like.
Yeah, I don't, because when I'm like, is he turned around and gone bang? Like, okay, that was. Or has he just gone a little toss to the side, like F off kind of thing? You know what I
Okay,
mean? Like,
alright.
stop throwing it on here.
Yeah.
I think his throw was a little bit innocent. It wasn't like I'm purposely aiming for that area of the crowd. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it went a little bit further than he thought it was going to go.
Right.
That's all I think. So I think it's
Too much in the gym for Tommy.
Yeah.
He
Maybe.
thought it was just going to go
It
there,
was
but
gonna-
fucking ended up in the shit.
We've talked about this stuff before. When
Yeah.
footballers get in their head about things, when they get frustrated,
You're not
sometimes
thinking
they
in that
act out.
moment.
You're not
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah.
It's like you mentioned it in one of our previous episodes, Ronaldo like knocking the phone out of a kid's hand. It's not the same as throwing a flare into a crowd, but it's that same kind of mental frustration, right? Where you just do something, it happens, you probably regret it. I don't think he expected what happened after to happen, and I'm sure he would have acted differently had he known that the potential for that was there.
So you ruling it onside?
Do you think that happens if everything in the APL is not going on? I'm saying like
Obviously not.
You don't think that happens? Okay.
Because they were obviously the protests were mainly to walk out, but they were obviously very angry, lobbing the flares and all that. I don't think I'm not directly blaming the APL for that incident, but I definitely think it contributed to it.
I think
definitely
it was.
contributed. Everyone was
It was a
angry.
boil over.
Everyone was angry.
Everyone was angry.
Yeah, people were just walking on the street, just pissed off.
It's just it's another case of sometimes the most destructive behavior is the loudest, right? They might represent what a lot of people are feeling, but they're doing it in a way that we wouldn't do, and we wouldn't say it like that, and we wouldn't act like that. And
I definitely think, look, whether you think it's onside or offside, the next one I want to ask, onside or offside. Again, Tom Glover. I'm picking on him. I'm a big fan of Tom Glover. I think he's a great goalkeeper. I'm picking on him though. When a bunch of angry, drunk Melbourne Victory fans are running at you onto the pitch, and you're standing there looking at them, I don't know about you guys. I would have been so quick in that change room. I would have turned around. I would have been going quicker than you can even say.
Then you look like a pussy.
Yeah, but he just stood there. I was watching like, bro, what are you doing? He just stood there.
Take off? I don't know. I don't know what I would have done in that position. In that position, I'm thinking...
Sometimes you freeze up, though.
A couple things going on.
You reckon?
Yeah, I think a couple...
You freeze up.
Because you're probably in...
You're not going to take him on.
Yeah, but you're probably in a moment of shock, like, is this actually happening? Like,
Yeah.
Are they actually coming onto the pitch?
Am I
By
seeing
that
things?
point, yeah, by that point, it's like,
I would've been
okay,
well off.
he's actually here now.
I would have been well off.
I can't actually run. Fuck it. Here we are. Do you know what I mean? It's probably that's the breakdown because I think I would have been in shock. I would have been in that. Like, is this actually? Oh, okay, we're doing
Yep.
this.
By the time you realise there's a bucket in your head.
Yeah, it's probably that.
Shit. Thank goodness he's okay.
Yeah.
Thank goodness he's
Couple
okay because that
stitches.
could have been way worse.
Yeah.
Like I was looking at that, I was like, in the moment that I saw it live,
Yeah.
I thought, holy shit, can you like? Who knows how bad that thing was? That bucket was full of some shit. That's what they put the flares in. Yeah, that's what
It's
the whole
really
point
bad,
of it. That
really
was
bad.
full, hitting him in the head. They hit him in the wrong part of the head.
Then
See ya.
bang.
Who knows what the damage is, you know? So I was really worried when I saw it live. Fortunately, he's okay.
Yeah.
He's come out. Whatever. You spoke to him as well after it.
Yeah,
He
it's
was
good.
fine, and he's back playing.
Well, and I was with Kat Sasso that day, and she's a Victory fan, and
And she was appalled, eh?
appalled.
Yeah.
But a friend of hers was at the game and was FaceTiming us.
Right.
So we kind of saw it all in live time,
Yeah.
and it was really weird. But I think, look, I'm a Sydney FC supporter. I'm from Sydney. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like, we're always going to feel a little differently about this because we are, like, right here. But seeing her reaction too was, it helped me understand the situation a little better in the sense that this isn't representing how all Victory fans feel.
No,
And
of course not.
It's
And
just
they have a lot of
it's
Victory
just a
fans
really
have
shitty thing to happen.
A lot of Victory fans have a bit of a love-hate with their own active support. Like a lot of them
Yeah.
don't like their own active support,
Yeah.
which is
Really?
sad. Yeah, which is sad. We saw, I guess, when the Wanderers had the RBB and that, I don't think Wanderers fans didn't like the RBB.
Yeah.
I think it was other problems, but I think everyone appreciated the RBB, whereas it seems like a lot of Victory fans aren't the biggest fans of
them.
their
Yeah.
own active support.
Sometimes
Like, they carry on.
Yeah, it's a minority that are just so loud
Yeah.
and so destructive.
So
but
you think that's the active? You feel like that's the representation when it's actually not.
Yeah, but
to
it doesn't
people
matter.
who don't
It only
understand
takes
the
one
game,
idiot.
right?
It only takes one idiot.
Because
Exactly.
now anyone, because that went viral, by the way. That went all over the
Everywhere.
world.
Yeah.
Your
My
mates would have seen it back
my
home,
mates
yeah?
in England were like, what the hell's going on in the A-League?
the
So it's
A-League.
like, but that's what they would have thought
Yeah.
of Australian fans. That would have been it. Oh, that's who they are.
It's insane.
you know what I mean? And obviously-
A dark day in
I
football.
mean, they say
think.
all publicity is good publicity, but I don't know. I
People
don't
would
know.
be like, oh, what happened? Check out the game. Who knows?
I don't know if in that case that's kind of how it works, but anyway, I'm actually,
Yeah.
you know what, random one. We're gonna talk a little bit about because you've been working on Dub Zone.
Yeah.
I want to hear about that.
Yeah,
We haven't
so-
caught up much about that.
No, we haven't.
Caddy's she's got her own show,
Yeah.
part of the A-League every Saturday.
Yeah, so
multiple
it's-
games live.
It's streamed on 10 Play
Yep.
and Paramount Plus. It is Dub Zone. It's an A-League women's show. So for
Brilliant.
the Liberty A-Leagues,
Yep.
it's similar to Goal Rush
Yep.
Premier League,
Yep.
where we follow the kickoff. There's 3 or 4 games that kick off at 3 p.m. on a Saturday, and we follow all of them.
Magic.
And we kind of just like commentate.
I saw the Wanderers finally won a game.
They
was
did,
good.
yeah, and
Yeah.
a beautiful goal in there as well.
Yeah, brilliant.
But look, it's the first of its kind
Nice.
for the A-League. I mean, the men's don't have a show of that
Like that,
format
do they?
either.
Yeah, no way.
But it's just something that the women needed. I think a huge part about the women's game is that people aren't tuning in. And so this gives people a really accessible way.
Have the numbers gone up?
Tune in. Yeah,
Since
they
this?
have.
Yeah.
The engagement's really good. We've trended a couple
like
of times on Twitter
you guys are
during the
going-
show.
Yeah, people love it.
Yeah, my job is to kind of sit there and kind of talk to fans and stuff through the show, reading commentary and things like that. So it's really cool. But
how's the women's game going, in your opinion? I know there's a lot of noise. I mean, there's new teams that have come in. Some do well, some don't.
yeah, so
But it's still a super short season.
It
A lot of
is.
the players are semi-pro.
Yeah.
Is it moving forward?
well,
Is it,
the season's gone from 14 to 18 games.
okay.
This is good.
Yeah, and which is obviously way better. It needed to
About
be
half
longer.
where it needs to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but needed to be longer
Right.
regardless.
Yeah.
I don't think that includes finals either.
Okay.
So
Okay.
the regular season's longer. Western United are a new team this season,
doing well.
and they're coming second,
They're doing very well, yeah.
Pretty
undefeated
good for
so
a-
far.
for like a new
I think
team
what's
coming
really
in.
cool, and I think you guys and a lot of the listeners will like this because we often talk about NPL and how there's so much talent in there. Well, this Western United team is essentially Calder United out of Victoria. So they're
Right.
an NPL
Oh,
squad.
so they all know each other. That's why.
They all know each other. They've
Okay.
been under Mark Torcaso, who is their coach.
Right.
And I think he's done like an amazing job. But
So
they've
the coach from the NPL team's gone up into
Yes,
the A-League.
correct.
That's
Wow.
So he basically, like, that whole team was promoted, and then in doing so, not only do they have, so Alex Sinclair is this player who's been with Calder for the majority of her playing life, her professional life. So she knows that team inside and out. But then they've brought in Chloe Lagazzo as kind of
big
their
name. Yeah.
big name signing. They've
Yeah.
got Jess McDonald, who's come from overseas.
Right.
She's played in Australia previously, but it's her first time
We
playing
know
for
Western
Western.
United got a bit of cash. We know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're coming second.
great.
They're playing beautifully. They didn't even utilize Chloe Lagazzo in their last game. She hasn't even played a full 90 for them.
Right.
She's played 45 minutes
Wow.
max.
Wow.
And like I said, didn't even play the last game. But I think a real testament to how that divide between NPL and A-Leagues is not so great. And we know a lot of those Sydney FC girls as well play together at Arpia and,
Well, they're
and all of
flying,
that.
aren't they, Sydney
Yeah,
FC?
and they're doing really well as
Yeah,
well. So
yeah.
I think there's really good momentum in the game. We have girls call into the show. We have at
That's
least
cool.
3 players call into the show every
Oh,
episode.
I
sick.
think the female players are cooler. Yeah.
They
no
are
disrespect on the lads. I think the lads are pretty cool, but I think sometimes they're a bit scared
Scared
to
to
show
say
their
stuff.
Oh, yeah,
personality,
yeah, yeah.
right?
The
Yeah,
women aren't,
100%.
right? Like,
Right.
I think they've got a bit more edge to them because a lot of them do other things. And
Yeah.
you know, we were talking about 2 players. There's Natasha Rigby, who plays in the A-League Women's. She was like a prison. She worked in a maximum security prison over COVID,
Damn,
and
that's cold.
has brought that like leadership to her team.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it's just really fascinating. They've
cool.
got really interesting lives,
Yeah.
and so we talk to them, and we've had Chloe Lagazzo on, and we've had all of these different girls on the show, and I think it's really good to see how they're talking about the sport. They're all really excited that the Women's World Cup's right around
massive.
around the corner,
massive for
and
everyone,
Dub
yeah.
Zone I think has come at the perfect time to just make the game a bit more accessible, to get
Yeah.
people excited, and
Yeah.
and I was never someone who sat and watched the women's game as much as I should, and now it's just reminded me that it's just as entertaining, and
Yeah,
and there's so much to talk about.
I'm not just saying this because you're on the show, but like it's really cool to see the women's game get something before the men's game, because usually it's like we'll try it in the men's game, and then if it's
See if it
working, like
works.
eventually in a
Yeah.
couple of years we'll roll it into the women's game. But it's nice to see the women's game actually got this show first, which is like a simultaneous live on social, on TV, all in one before them. Like the men will probably get it really soon.
Yeah.
But it's cool that they rolled it
Yeah,
out in the
I
women's
like that.
first.
Yeah,
Like,
I
that's
think
really
so
cool.
too, and
you're a part of that. It's massive.
I feel very honoured to be part of it and
Right.
to be around the women's game now, because
Yeah.
we've obviously got like such an important event right around the corner,
Yeah.
and there's so much talent here. There's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
There's so much to get around.
Yeah.
And when you look at the story of Western United under Johnny Aloisi in the
Yeah.
men's, you're seeing a very similar blueprint with the women's.
That's good for the club.
Yeah, and
they just
I
got a
think
stadium and some fans.
just makes people
if they can get
realise.
some stadium and talk to Qatar about how you buy some fans,
Yeah.
then they'll be
they'll
real.
be
Then they'll be
rolling.
on. Then there'll be a
Facts.
superstar club.
And also, let's talk about how the women's fans aren't throwing flares and stuff.
yeah,
They're just
yeah.
chilling,
More
guys.
civilized.
They're just
Yeah.
having a good
Yeah,
time.
they are
They're
civilized.
showing
They are
up
more
to
They
civilized.
watch
actually
the
are.
football.
They
If you
are
want-
more
if you want
civilized.
no problems, go
Yeah.
to a women's
Hopefully,
game.
all these fans
Same.
turn up. I hope all the international fans come for the Women's World Cup.
Me too.
I hope,
Me
hopefully,
too.
a lot of them.
Yeah.
So
There's
it's-
I think
really
they will.
good
Hinge will
talk
be
around
flying
it.
in the right producer Shabs.
Haha.
But, you look
He's in a producer
Producer
Shabs
Shabs-
is in a committed relationship.
Yeah, no, I was just saying for other people, the
Yeah.
Hinge and the Tinder will
Yeah.
be flying during
Yeah,
the
you'd
Women's
think
World
so.
Cup. You
You'd
think?
so.
You know,
Um,
those athletes. Anyway.
Yeah, but being part of Dub Zone, we've spoken to Jane Fernandez. What did you say?
Hey, yeah, sorry.
We spoke to Jane Fernandez, who's the COO of kind of the FIFA Women's World Cup. The Women's World Cup,
yeah.
Who's really excited about
everyone's
everything.
Pumped.
And then
it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be huge.
I think obviously when you host a World Cup, we talked about this with Qatar, you get all this money, and then it's kind of up to the.
So that's gonna get invested into women's football after.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
What's it called? Legacy?
So they've inherited like $230 million, right, to make this Women's World Cup come to fruition. But a huge part of that is where you invest that money and where you put it. And so for example, we had Ray Dower, who's the technical director of Football Australia. She's also the coach of the under-17s national team. Right. She was on we spoke to her during the show on Saturday, and she talked about Legacy 23, which is basically this initiative behind what they do with this funding and all this money that they get by hosting the World Cup. And it's hugely devoted to investing in grassroots football and things as simple as making sure that professional women have a change room.
Yeah.
You know, Victory women don't have a change room.
Wow.
They get changed in their cars.
What?
Yeah, I know.
What's that like? Training?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That's like it's just this huge divide. Things that are so simple but could be so easily sorted with a little bit more funding. So, it's $230 million. There's a lot you can do with it.
It's good.
It's about spending it the right way. Yeah. But, you know, when the likes of Jane and Ray talk about it like that, they're all very positive.
Yeah,
and I think
so. This has to leave a print here.
Yeah,
this World Cup is so big.
Yeah.
Like, it's massive. It's the biggest thing since any, I guess, Australian city has hosted the Olympics. This is the biggest thing, right? You haven't seen anything like this. This is going to be massive. The whole world's tuning in. FIFA, anytime FIFA touch anything, right? It's huge.
Massive,
It's huge, right? Sponsors, everything. So we've got to make the most of it, and football as a whole needs to jump on it. And any football fan, doesn't matter if you haven't even tuned into a women's game, make this the year that you do, because this is what it's all about. I did want to talk about, actually, I did see the US women's team. Did you see that the US women's team, during the World Cup, they made more money, the women's team, made more money than they did when they won the Women's World Cup.
What are they doing?
Because of that deal that they struck with the men's team, they all make equal cash. So if the women go all the way and win the Women's World Cup, the men will get equal amount of prize money as them. But because the prize money in the Men's World Cup is astronomically so much more, so the US women's team made more money from the men making the round of 16 than they did when they won it.
Oh my days!
Yeah,
that's an insane.
But it's a great initiative. It's a good initiative because it then means that the women are benefiting off the men doing well. Like, it's a win-win for everyone,
winning,
right?
So then the men are hoping the women win the World Cup as well, because
that's money that goes into the male system, the female system, whatever. Wow. But it essentially it benefits it holistically. Yeah.
No, it's brilliant.
Women's World Cup. It's an exciting. USA women's team is just always unreal.
Yeah. There will be they've won back-to-back World Cups, so
let's see
whether or not can
the Matildas turn it on. They started winning some games. Maybe it was all an act. Tony Gustafsson, he's good. Maybe he just thought, hey, let's just look like we're pretty shit for the 2-3 years before
and then let's turn it around.
I really hope that's TJ's plan.
I do that all the time. My mate did that to me on the weekend. We'll play Mario Kart on the weekend, and he was playing like shit. And then he goes, bro, let's play a $50 game. I said, sweet, let's go. I'm just so you know, I'm a machine at Mario Kart. Don't play me. I'm like, sweet, let's play. He goes, I'll get a 15-point handicap. And he was off me by like about 30 points before this. So I was like, sweet. I shook on it. I still beat him. I only beat him by like 6-7 points. So I had to give him $50. That's what you do. Maybe that's what Tony Gustafsson's doing. He just on purposely lost some games.
I hope so, Claudes.
Anyway, I'm just trying to.
I think the Matildas have, for all that I speak positively about the women's game as well, I think there's a lot to figure out with the Matildas too.
Well, it's just that the rest of the world has improved out of sight.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying we're in a worse place than we were 10 years ago. We're definitely not. It's just that everyone else has exponentially improved. One last thing. It wouldn't be Born Offside if I didn't just stray offside for no reason. I heard a rumor. I heard a story.
Story or rumor?
So I heard it like, how do you feel about pegging? Hold on.
Pause. Pegging?
How do you feel about pegging?
I mean, offside.
Why are you shaking your head, Kat?
I'm just shaking at the camera.
It's called Born Offside. It's been a while.
Breaking the wall.
It's been a while since we've fallen offside. We're playing on this side of the fence.
For me, I'm going to call it offside.
You say pegging's offside?
I wouldn't indulge in it.
Okay. How do you feel about it, Kat?
I've never thought about it.
Don't have an opinion on it?
It's completely new to me.
Okay. Well, anyway.
How do you feel, Claudes?
I heard, I'm going to finish the episode. I heard an A-League player peg their physio.
An A-League player
peg their physio at the A-League club.
Are we talking female or male?
Yeah.
You don't want to give anything.
I'm going to leave that for you. It doesn't matter, does it? Why does it matter?
It could be a male. Could be. It's true. Yeah, it could be. Could it be?
Well, I don't know. Why would it be?
I mean, yeah.
Why would
technically, it would happen to a male and it would be by the female.
Yeah.
I hate that I know this.
Yeah.
You know more that you're leading on.
I worked with a girl who would randomly bring this up.
Yeah?
Because she wanted to do it with her partner and he would say
he
no.
didn't want to do it.
But she kept bringing it up.
Fair enough. It's like, it's not
How
your
did we
ass
get
we're
here?
talking about. It's
Yeah,
my
come
ass.
on,
Like, surely I get to decide on my
and we're all about consent here.
Yeah, 100%.
And you have to 100% consent that kind of stuff.
And like physios, usually they get all up in your system, but I never really thought about my physio.
I've
got a few stories about physios. Trust
Yeah?
me. We'll leave that for another time.
Anyway, I thought we were being a bit. We were playing 2 on side. I thought I'd throw that one in there. It's just something I heard on the grapevine. But anyway, even if
you know any about that, let us know.
Yeah, let us
Drop
know.
it into Born Offside.
Hey, allegedly.
It's always alleged.
It's just allegedly, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. If that's your thing, that's your thing. You know.
Yeah,
And
fair.
Yeah.
We don't judge.
No.
It's not about that.
And if they're a physio, they know what's good for you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue with the physio. Do you know what I mean? They know what's good for you. You trust the physio. Physio says, "Hey, this is
your
good."
physio says to you,
"Hey, your glutes been popping off. Think about a bit
you
of.
need to be pegged a bit, and there you go.
You loosen it up.
Back to normal.
You're too tense.
Fair.
You know what I mean? You trust your physio. On that note,
and seriously, if your physio is telling you that, find a new physio.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no.
Anyway.
Comment. No comment.
Anyway.
It's been a great episode.
It has been a fantastic episode.
Fantastic.
With that, whatever your sexual experiences or fetishes are, don't worry. You can all listen to Born Offside, and we are all welcoming here at Born Offside. Make sure you subscribe to the pod. It's been so good to speak to you guys 3 times in a week.
Wow.
We'll be back. We'll be taking the weekend off. We'll be trotting, we'll be partying, we'll be enjoying all the football that is coming up our way. And we'll see you again next week, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the pod. Follow us on all socials. Keep in touch. Let us know what you want us to chat about next week and any guests you want to see on the pod. Thanks so much for joining us for the first week in 2023. See you guys soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.